Let's talk about these topics before wrapping up SNMP. A note on SNMP alerts: object IDs, absolute and relative paths, symbolic names, node types, and SMI. This is a small note here. When referring to SNMP alerts, the correct name that we should use is notifications or SNMP unsolicited messages. We are talking about traps and informs here. Let's talk now about object IDs, absolute and relative paths. If when referring to an object ID we include a leading dot, that means that we are defining an absolute path, also known as a fully qualified object ID. Otherwise, if this leading dot is missing, we are talking about a relative path. Now, some SNMP tools or network management system will not care about this leading dot at all. However, if they do, they will assume that a relative path will begin at some point of the object ID tree other than the root, for instance, this one. So the best practice here is that if you're working with absolute path, always use a leading dot when referring to object IDs. Let's talk now about symbolic names. In order to identify a particular node within the tree, we have several ways to do it. We can use the traditional object ID format. However, we have a shortcut available to us. We can use the MIB name. In order to identify objects further down the tree using symbolic names, we have several formats available to us depending on the tool that we are using. We can use the MIB name followed by a column followed by the object name, or we can use the MIB name followed by a dot followed by the object number or object name. Now, given this symbolic name is actually referring to a MIB, in order for this to work, you will need to have your MIBs previously loaded into your SNMP tool or network management system. Most of SNMP tools and network management systems come out of the box with a lot of MIBs already preloaded. These are usually the MIBs that live below the MIB2 node. These are known as public MIB2 files. However, eventually we will need to manually load some MIB files into our network management system or SNMP tool. These are usually vendor MIBs. These MIBs live under the enterprise node of the object ID tree. Now let's talk about the types of nodes that we may come across when examining an object ID tree. For instance, we can find particular nodes that do not have nodes below them, and they contain only a single piece of information. We are going to call them scalars. We may also find nodes that do not have other nodes below them. However, they organize information into several entries. We are going to call these tables. A table may include or reference another table. We may also have nodes that are actually parents to other nodes. These parent nodes may have scalars as well. They may have several tables, or they may have other parent nodes. Let's talk about SMI now. SMI stands for Structure of Management Information. It is a language that we use to actually write MIBs. It comes from a previous language. There are two versions out there, version 1 and 2. This means that we have MIBs written in version 1 and MIBs written in version 2.